This is a Gear Network production.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's your boy, Mr. Perez, and you're listening to the Better Live Than Dead podcast, brought to you exclusively on Gear Network. Listen in.
How's it going, everybody? A touching tribute from us at BLTD to the gentlemen of Motorhead and everybody, all the metal fans around the world. We lost a legend this past week, I should say. Lemmy Kilmister, the lead singer of Motorhead, sadly passed away. Apparently he was diagnosed with brain and neck cancer, and then died 2 days later. And now he hasn't looked in all good health the past year or so. It's been kind of one of those things where you realize that his health is going downhill, and it sucks to see. But as we say for most people, rest in power, Lemmy. And with that, we welcome you somberly to the 74th episode of the Better Live Than Dead podcast. I am your host, Ryan Wolf, joined on the line, as always, by Mr. Perez.
Episode 74. What's up, peoples?
And we're back after a week off, so I must say, too, happy 2016 to everybody who may be tuning in right now. 2015 was one hell of a year, but we're going to try to make 2016 even better.
That's right. Happy New Year, everybody, in listener land.
Podcast world, listener land, whatever it may be, wherever you're listening to us, we appreciate you. Happy New Year. Now, as usual, follow me on Twitter at WolfBLTD. Follow Perez at MRLGPerez. And today, we are not going to waste any time. We're going to jump right into the podcast. Big news everywhere, out of pretty much every sporting news or sporting outlet that we have. There's news because, like I said, we missed 2 weeks. A lot of football news, some baseball news, college football news, UFC, and even some NHL news to throw in there as well. So I hope you're ready, Lewis. I hope you're ready for some talking.
Let's do it.
First off, in college football playoffs have started. First off, TCU quarterback and potential first-round pick, TCU's quarterback. I completely forgot his name, so I'm looking it up right now because I'm a moron. That's what my brain does to me. Okay, this is what I do. That's what I thought. Trayvon Boykin, quarterback TCU, arrested for assault of a public servant. He punched a cop in the face after he was in a fight. Cops are breaking up, and he struck the cop in the face. Not a good look. He was suspended for the bowl game. Lewis, do you think this is going to affect his draft stock a lot?
You know, it might, because he got arrested. It was after curfew, mind you, right before a bowl game. Like, what are you doing out past curfew on a bowl game, which means you probably snuck out, first of all. So they didn't know you were gone. That's leaving your team high and dry. Now, so there'll be that issues to go with. I don't know how much it'll affect his draft stock, because if you look at the situation, there was a group of people fighting. It doesn't look like he intentionally struck the officer. It looks like, there was a group of people fighting. The officer happened to be there, and he got hit. So if that's what bears out, I think it'll affect him a little bit, but maybe not a lot. I mean, he is 20 years old, But at the same token, you can't just leave your team high and dry like that, getting suspended before one of the biggest games, if not the biggest game of your career.
And you know what? It's one of those things at this point where I don't know. I don't want to be that guy to sit here and say, "Oh, leadership, blah blah blah." I mean, you don't want to put yourself in those situations as a soon-to-be professional athlete. It's something I'm sure he'll learn from. I don't think his draft stock. I'm sure some people will say, "Oh, he's a thug, he's a terrible person, whatever." Those people can go piss up a rope, man. I'm not buying it. People screw up. Stuff happens.
Right.
I still think he's going to be a fantastic professional football player, but we'll see. moving on to the college football playoffs now, the Orange Bowl and the Cotton Bowl decided the semifinalists or the finalists, I should say, for the college football championship. Clemson and Oklahoma 1-4. Clemson dispatched Oklahoma 37-17 to remain undefeated, and they will host Alabama. Number 2 Alabama defeats number 3 Michigan State 38-0 in what seemed to be a very simple game for Alabama. They seem to have all the answers for Michigan State. And now on January 11th, 6 days away from when we're recording the podcast, as it is January 5th right now, Clemson takes on Alabama, 8:30 p.m. on ESPN at the University of Phoenix Stadium for the national championship. Who you got in the national championship, Lewis?
You know what? After watching I was going to go with Clemson because they're undefeated. They've looked really good. But then Alabama absolutely dismantled Michigan State. Going into halftime, Michigan State had like -7 rushing yards. They could not move the ball on Bama. The secondary shut down their wide receivers. Bama just looked like a juggernaut. And so, with that being said, I'm probably going to go with Alabama and Mr. Nick Saban.
I'm going to go Clemson just because I don't like Alabama very much. And I just think that if they're undefeated, you got to go with it until they lose. And you know what? I don't really care if they win or lose, but I'm just going to go devil's advocate here and say Clemson's going to win.
I think it's going to be a really, really good championship game.
I think so, yeah. I don't think there's any doubt that game will be great to watch for sure. But I want to move on now. I want to move on now, if you don't mind.
Go ahead.
What were you going to say? What were you going to say about football?
I'm going to go with Bama.
Okay, no more comments because I thought you were going to say something. I apologize.
No, that was it.
Okay. You got Bama. I've got Clemson. Moving on to the UFC now. Ronda Rousey tells ESPN, the magazine, that she will retire if she loses to Holly Holm again. Not a very surprising thing because once you kind of start losing to the same person, the mystique is gone, as we've seen. Kind of like the reason why Miesha Tate won't get another women's a championship shot in the bantamweight division because she's lost to Ronda Rousey twice. Now maybe if Holly Holm wins again, she'll get a shot against Holly Holm, but that's why Miesha Tate kept getting dispatched, and Ronda Rousey was facing the bottom part of the rankings, the bottom 10 of the rankings, because at the end of the day, it's a business. People don't want to watch the same pummeling 3 times, maybe twice they'll get it, but no more than twice. So it's interesting to see if Rousey does stick to her word if she does lose to Holly Holm. I mean, if she beats Holly Holm, we're going to have Holly Holm, Ronda Rousey 3. It'll be one of the greatest rivalries we'll have ever seen. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. We just want to put that news out there just in case that does end up happening. Now, Donald Cerrone, who lost to Rafael Dos Anjos at 155, has moved up to 170, and it has been confirmed by the UFC. Why is it interesting, you ask? Well, first off, Donald Cerrone realizes he's lost to Dos Anjos twice. He's not going to get a title shot again for a long time, if ever, if Dos Anjos remains a champion, as we just discussed with Miesha Tate and Ronda Rousey. But this has fueled the rampant speculation that Conor McGregor will forego the 155, his current title, the one, I think 135 or 145, whatever division he's in. He's going to forego his title to face Rafael Dos Anjos for the championship in a super fight. So that could be something to keep an eye on right there, because McGregor was talking about moving up a weight class because the cuts are not as good for him as they once were. Obviously, he's still a dominant fighter, but it may make more sense for him to move up, and we're going to get that super fight. So Cerrone moves to 170. He's going to work his way up the division, I'm sure, very quickly. But that's also something else to keep an eye on as you read the tea leaves, if you will. I would be down for a McGregor Dos Anjos super fight for sure, but I'm not sure if the UFC wants to pull the trigger on that one just yet.
You know, my only concern with people moving up in weight class is how the extra weight sort of affects your speed. McGregor's.
Well, you have to remember too, Lewis. They cut a lot of weight for fights, and then they put the weight back on before the fight happens. So McGregor, I think, fights at like 155. So if that's his division and he's fighting at 155, it may
he'll be fine.
He might be fine.
True. He's a bad dude.
Dude, he's the baddest man on the planet right now for sure.
He's a bad dude.
Real quick, just one more thing to point out. UFC 195 took place last weekend, and Robbie Lawler defeated Carlos Condit in a split decision, 5 rounds. Obviously, if it's a split decision, they fought the full 25 minutes. 47-48, 48-47, 48-47. Obviously, Condit, Lawler. Carlos Condit after the fight. It was a fantastic fight, by the way. If you get a chance to watch it, check it out. It was amazing. I thought Condit won it. Apparently, Robbie Lawler did enough to defend. Condit said he may retire after that fight, but we'll see. But if Condit wants to remain, I'm sure after a fight or two, we'll probably see this fight again because holy hell, dude, it was one incredible fight.
Yeah, they beat each other up.
I want to move over to hockey. Dude, I was freaking out watching the fight. It was just great. It was great action. Real quick note in hockey, I forgot what team I was going to talk about there for a second. Ottawa Senators owner Eugene Melnyk says that he said on the 30th, I believe it was, that Gary Bettman is listening to Jeremy Jacobs, the owner of the Bruins, a lot. And what it looks like right now is that Las Vegas will be getting a hockey team and Quebec will not be getting an expansion franchise, which kind of bodes well for, with this rumor coming out, that bodes well for Las Vegas, not so well for Quebec, but it also goes along with what we've been hearing, where the NHL is open to expanding in Las Vegas because it brings the amount of teams down, the split between the West and the East from 2-1, but it also leaves the opportunity for Quebec to be an expansion or not an expansion franchise, but a relocation of a franchise, because we know at some point in time it's going to happen. There's no doubt about it. It's just a matter of when, not if. And if the NHL takes Quebec off the map, that could be very bad for business if they need a place to put a team. They don't have a good place to put a team, because they know if they put a team in Quebec, it's going to survive. Because the Quebec Nordiques, the old version of the Nordiques, they didn't have as much backing as a new franchise in Quebec would. So it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out. But like I said, there's no doubt Las Vegas gets a team. That seems like it was a foregone conclusion and kind of guaranteed when they started building the arena in Las Vegas. But I would be shocked if Las Vegas does not end up with a hockey team by probably 2018.
Yeah, I wouldn't be shocked either. That'd be good for Vegas.
It'd be a lot of fun. It'd give me a reason to go to Vegas, that's for sure.
No doubt.
I'd go to Vegas, watch some hockey, gamble, I don't know, go home.
I'm about to go to Vegas next year.
That's a good idea.
I'm sorry. I should say this year. It is 2016.
It is 2016. You get a point off, 1 point taken off from you for you today on your podcast score.
Sorry.
Major League Baseball news real quick, and then we're going to talk some Hall of Fame news here, so we're going to run by this stuff very quickly here. Washington signed second baseman Daniel Murphy. Ex-Oakland Athletic outfielder Dave Henderson passes away. Washington signed shortstop Stephen Drew, who will probably be a holdover until their top shortstop prospect gets ready in Syracuse and is ready to be called up. The Dodgers signed pitcher Scott Kazmir, and they signed pitcher Kente Maeda from Japan. So their rotation looks to be stacked up very well, and they look to be ready for another run. It's not going to be, it's not Zach Greinke. Sorry, I keep blanking out tonight. I don't know what my problem is. It's not Zach Greinke for sure, but if they're looking to save a little money, it looks like they're going to save a little money with these moves for sure. I still think the Dodgers are going to be dangerous, but I think the Diamondbacks are going to be a lot better. Something we can talk about in a month or so. Well, next month we can do a preview for baseball because, spring training starts next month. It's a couple weeks away. Baseball's almost here, guys, which gets me pretty excited. But You know how excited I am for baseball? I went out this week and bought a new Red Sox hat. That should tell you something.
Did you?
Oh, yeah, dude. I didn't get a fitted, though. I got one of those flex fits. And a great news report to everybody in listener land. My head has shrunk from a large, extra large to a large medium. So I was pretty happy about that one. Yo, dude, whenever my head gets smaller, I'm happy. Like, I was going to buy one of the 47 franchise hats that looks kind of distressed. But
right.
I got stuck between... a large was too small and extra large was too big, and then the lids guy says, well, try this new era flex fit on. And I was like, I didn't even realize that they were here because I thought that they were like the strap on back, the ones with the straps in the back. And
okay.
And it was a flex fit. I tried it on, felt great, I bought it. End of my story, you know?
That's a good story, bro.
Thank you. You can keep the smart-ass comments to yourself. I appreciate it. But, you know, I'm pumped up for baseball. I'm very pumped up for baseball.
You know what? Baseball should be fun this year.
Now I want to ask you, speaking of baseball being fun, the one thing I omitted from the news, New York Yankees acquire closer Aroldis Chapman. What are your thoughts on that move?
I think it's a good move. But isn't he going through some legal issues right now?
There's a potential that he could be suspended because of his domestic violence, ongoing domestic violence allegations.
Yeah, so I mean,
but I mean, if that does happen, where he's suspended, the Yankees just control his rights for one more year.
Right. If he plays, good move. If he doesn't play, bad move.
I mean, at this point, it's a thing where the Yankees are trying to shorten the game. That's what every bullpen in baseball tries to do, obviously. But as we've seen, the good franchises are able to
What's up?
The Yankees can make it where if you don't score in 6 innings, game's over. You're in trouble. And I mean,
that's
their
true
bullpen was pretty shut down last year with Betances and Miller, but now putting Miller into a familiar setup role, Betances into a setup role, and then having Chapman as the closer. It's not a bad move. Not a bad move at all.
No, baseball-wise, it's not at all. I mean, that's a great move, as long as it works out.
I mean, we'll see what happens. We'll certainly see what happens when the future rolls around and baseball actually happens. Because, I mean, you can't win a World Series in the offseason. We know that for sure.
That's a true story.
Now, I want to move over. What's up? No, what's up?
So I'd like to see him shore up some other things, too. But we'll see what happens. It's early yet.
Yeah, and there's a lot of time left. I wouldn't be too worried about it, but certainly it's gonna be something that if the Yankees don't shore up their offense, they may need that pitching to be very, 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 very good.
Very good. Right.
Now, looking at the Baseball Hall of Fame voting, the ballots will be made public on what's today? Tuesday. So Wednesday the 6th, which by the time you listen to this podcast, you probably already know who's in the Hall of Fame, so we'll discuss it more next week once we have the numbers in. But as of right now, our good, well, not our good buddy, but Twitter's good buddy, Ryan Tibbs at Not Mr. Tibbs, has his Baseball Hall of Fame tracker in full swing. Now, this year, at this point in time, as we record, I'm just going to hit refresh. I don't think anything's come in right now, but I just want to make sure we have the most up-to-date statistics here at the Better Live Than Dead podcast. Right now, as I stare at my computer screen, it's loading. It's loading. Excel Online takes a little bit. My computer's also probably just really slow. Yeah, it's just really slow. It was updated 4:54 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, so today at 7 p.m., Tuesday the 5th at 7 p.m. As of that time, 171 public ballots have been released. That's about 38% estimated of the known ballots total. It's estimated about 450 people will vote this year. And as of this point in time, all the public ballots, there's 8.34 votes per public ballot. Now, just going across the line right now, Jeff Bagwell, 79.5% of the total public ballots, 49.7 for Barry Bonds, 49.1 for Roger Clemens. Trevor Hoffman's at 62.6%. Edgar Martinez at 46.2%, Mike Messina at 52%, Mike Piazza at 86%, Tim Raines at 77.8%, Kurt Schilling at 57.9%, and Alan Trammell in his last year at 46.8%. Doesn't look like he's going to make the Hall of Fame in voting. He may make it in the Veterans Committee, but the first ballot Hall of Famer that is guaranteed to go in, Ken Griffey Jr., through 171 public ballots, has all 171 votes.
That he should. If someone doesn't vote for him, they're idiots.
Well, there's some people who may turn in empty ballots. I mean, right now, it's looking like, and another good follow is Baseball OT, so Base Ballot on Twitter. Nathaniel Rakic. I'm sorry if I pronounced your name wrong, sir. He does a Hall of Fame vote projection. He does a Hall of Fame vote projection, and right now, Ken Griffey Jr. with the 100% of the public ballots, estimated at 94.5. It's expected he'll probably get around 96.5% of the vote. Mike Piazza expected to get about 82%, and Jeff Bagwell expected to get about 76.7% of the vote. So, with that being said, let me get this Baseball Hall of Fame tracker back up. I mean, those three names themselves deserve to be in the Hall of Fame. Mike Piazza going in may finally start to knock off the luster of the steroid era because, I mean, Mike Piazza is one of those guys that has been often linked to steroid use, and it's never been proven, but it's been there. And if he gets into the Hall of Fame, it may be time to start thinking about others as well.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. Absolutely.
I'm just looking up a number here right now. I just want to see what the number was for the highest voting percentage for the Baseball Hall of Fame. Tim Raines at 69.8. That's his projected, is a very nice number. He's projected to get 69.8% of the final vote, which would put him just shy of the Hall of Fame. But because Tim Raines in his 9th year, it's likely that he'll get in his 10th and final season. Trevor Hoffman is expected to get 65.4% of the vote. Kurt Schilling up to 52.1% last year. Kurt Schilling had 39.2% of the vote. I apologize. Tim Raines had 55%. Piazza had 69.9%. Looks like he's going to get in. Jeff Bagwell, like we said, he had 55.7% of the votes last year. Looks like he'll get in. The big names here, Bonds and Clemens. Clemens is expected to finish with 42.7% of the votes. Bonds, 41.4%. The amount keeps going up for them slowly but surely. If they'll run out of time, we'll see. I mean, they still have a lot of years left. They both have 6 or 5 years, 5, 6, 7, so 6 more years on the ballot after this one. Another interesting name to look at, too, Edgar Martinez in his 7th year, so next year will be his 8th year on the ballot, obviously. He has moved up from 27% to an estimated 45.9%. Designated hitters getting some love in the Hall of Fame someday soon. And Mike Messina, a borderline Hall of Famer, had 24.6% of the votes last year. He's up to 44.2% this year. And with some surefire, not so surefire Hall of Famers coming up the next couple of years, we may see these numbers increase more and more just because, I mean, it's not horrible if they don't induct anybody in the Hall of Fame, but they certainly want to kind of clear the ballot, I would assume.
Right.
And also looking here real quick, Tom Seaver received the highest percentage of votes at 98.84. Greg Maddux received the most number of votes at 555, which that will never be touched again. And
yeah.
Ty Cobb was only left off 4 ballots.
That's it?
4 ballots when Ty Cobb was inducted. He had 222 of 226 votes.
Wonder who those 4 people were.
I'm not sure, but wow, that's impressive stuff. So yeah, like I said, we'll talk more about that next week. I know we kind of jumped into that, but we'll have a lot of numbers and stuff next week for everybody to discuss and kind of just dive head first. And because there's nothing I love more than numbers. And
right.
I mean, I don't know about you. I love numbers. That's just me. I love statistics. I love numbers. I just can't get enough of it. I cannot get enough of it.
I enjoy it when it comes to sports.
Okay, that's fair. I mean, I like statistics so much that they freak me out. Like, here's a little factoid for me. I stopped weighing myself because I became so obsessed with the number. Like, I become obsessed with numbers. I don't know why.
Gotcha.
But that's something. I just love. To a fault, I love numbers and statistics.
Well, yeah, because something like that could just, something like that would just drive you crazy after a while.
Numbers, yeah, they do. They freak me out after a very long time, which is why I have to take a step back and stop looking at numbers all the time.
Especially when it's something like your weight.
Yeah. Well, anyways, that's just a breaking down the fourth wall type of thing right there. Moving over to the National Football League, a lot of stuff to talk about. A lot of stuff to talk about. First off, Peyton Manning linked to a human growth hormone allegation. Now, she's been through the ringer already, and some people who are involved with it said it is false. Others have reconfirmed that Peyton's wife received shipments of human growth hormone. Not sure we're ever going to get to the bottom of this, but it's certainly something to pay attention to. I mean, it is what it is. If Peyton Manning used human growth hormone to heal from his neck injury, whatever. Football's a dangerous sport. Football does kill people. And, I mean, at some point in time, they're going to have to do something. Either football's going to die or they're going to make stuff like this legal in a fashion where it can be controlled and monitored.
Right.
But, I mean, because if you're using human growth hormone to get jacked up and be huge and all that stuff, not fair. But if you broke your neck and you're trying to come back to continue your football career and it helps you, okay, I'm not mad about it. But
right.
It's a double standard, because if you let Peyton Manning use it, or say you let a guy like Peyton Manning use it, but then you let some other guy not use it, it's kind of tough. So, I mean, it's a slippery slope of just incorrectiveness or being incorrect. I guess that's not even a word. So it's a slippery slope of being incorrect, because if you let this one guy do it and let that one guy not do it, it's just bad for business. So, like I said, someday we'll see something happen with football where they allow stuff because it's necessary. But I'm interested to see where this goes. It may just be a fart in the wind and nothing comes of it, but it may be something else. It may be something that's a small fire that becomes a raging inferno. So we'll see what happens there. But I mean, I'm not going to give it much time here on the podcast because we really don't know if there's anything to it.
If there's any validity to it.
We'll keep an eye out for sure. I didn't know if you had any comments there or not.
Nope. I'm good. I agree with you there.
That's fair. Before Week 17 took place, the Philadelphia Eagles, I almost said the Philadelphia Phillies. I mean, they're both bad, so I mean, it wouldn't really matter. But the Philadelphia Eagles pull the trigger and finally fire head coach Chip Kelly, head coach and general manager Chip Kelly. Apparently, the owner asked Kelly to give up his GM role, which Kelly balked at and was fired. Apparently, it was a microcosm of the bigger issue where Chip Kelly was just rubbing everybody the wrong way. They didn't like what he was doing, and they said, well, look, you're not going to ruin our team any longer. And now he's out of a job.
Yes, he is.
There's a cushy job in Tennessee that's available with Marcus Mariota. Maybe that's where Chip Kelly ends up. We'll talk about that in just a moment. But not surprising to see Chip Kelly get let go by the Philadelphia Eagles.
Nope.
You're just full of it tonight, man. Your comments are spot on.
No, man, I mean,
I love it.
You've heard the same things I've heard. He was rubbing people the wrong way. You can't have that type of environment, in the locker room. Your players aren't going to want that.
Well, apparently the final straw was something at a holiday party. Chip Kelly messed up the holiday party, and the owner got mad, and that's apparently what happened. But I don't know. I just know that he wasn't right for the job.
I haven't heard anything about that holiday party thing, but
let me get it popped up. Deadspin had something on. Let me grab it.
That's kind of hilarious. Bad job, Chip Kelly.
I'm looking right now. Don't worry.
How are you? Yeah, find that story. I'd be really curious to know exactly what happened.
Here we go. Let's see here. Chip Kelly refused to attend the Eagles holiday party if it were held on its traditional night. Owner Jeffrey Lurie did not like this. It says, quote, for instance, excuse me, I have to burp. I guess not. Excuse me, yeah, I did have to burp. Quote, for instance, Lurie has always taken considerable pride in his team's holiday party, going to great expense to throw the large gathering, with it becoming something of a prized tradition with him. According to numerous sources with knowledge of the situation, Kelly basically refused to attend it this year on its normal Monday night, and ultimately Lurie had it moved to a Friday afternoon on-site to facilitate Kelly's schedule. Kelly argued that Monday night would disrupt the coach's planning for the week. A fair enough claim, but Lurie apologized to the organization for the haphazard way the party was conducted this year and told others it would not happen in that fashion ever again. In and of itself, it's not a big deal, but given the timing and with the team falling out of the playoffs around Christmas and with the atmosphere in the organization growing more toxic, it exemplified the growing divide between the way Kelly operated and what Lurie wanted his organization to be. Quote, that's just part of a long list of reasons why Jeffrey made this move. Quote, one source said to the situation, one source close to the situation said, quote, but the whole thing with the Christmas party just epitomizes the split from what Jeffrey wants the Eagles to be and what he felt like they were becoming. So like I said, a microcosm of the bigger issue.
That's crazy. If the owner is throwing a party on a certain day, you go to that party. If the dude who signs your paychecks is like, hey, party Monday night, you go, woo, I'm going to be there. That's not a good night for me.
Oh man, I'm just reading Twitter right now. Some breaking news, I guess. North Korea has just admitted to. North Korea just admitted to testing a hydrogen bomb. So that's good.
Well, we already know they tested a nuclear bomb.
Yeah, they tested a hydrogen bomb. There was an earthquake in the area, and apparently they've admitted to it. So that's good. That's wonderful. Anyways. So did
the hydrogen bomb cause the earthquake?
The hydrogen bomb caused an earthquake in North Korea, and then it was picked up on South Korea's seismic scales, and it says they conducted a successful hydrogen bomb test, so that's good. I'm sure we'll hear more about that in the coming days. But back to football. Back to football now. A couple small things. Dallas wide receiver Des Bryant undergo foot and ankle surgery. I'm assuming to fix the broken bone in his foot from earlier in the year, plus he had some ankle problems. He should be back to full health later in the offseason. We should be ready for next season, no problem. Buffalo plans to cut defensive end Mario Williams this offseason. He's had an off year in Buffalo, no secret about that. But a lot of it seems to be scheme-related because Rex Ryan's defense does not cater to Mario Williams' playing style. Now, you'd figure with a great athlete like Mario Williams, you'd want to cater your defense around a guy like him or Marcel Darius or Jerry Hughes, but they didn't. They wanted to kind of fit a square peg in a round hole and make Mario Williams a guy who kind of drop into coverage a lot and not rush the quarterback. And the Buffalo Bills had some disastrous sack numbers this year after setting a franchise record just a year ago. There's rumors that Dennis Thurman may not return as the defensive coordinator. I'm not sure how true those rumors are, but we'll see. Also, looking at it, I mean, Mario Williams represents, I think, $13 million off the cap if they cut him, so there's another reason why they might want to let him go. But I mean, after seeing Mario Williams commit himself to Buffalo and the defense getting a lot better in Buffalo with Mario Williams, it's going to kind of suck to see him go because he's going to go somewhere else and he's going to be fantastic.
Yeah, you know what? When you have the most dominating person in defense in the NFL, you find a way to work him into your schemes. That's just stupid.
I mean, we know what Rex Ryan can do with the defense, but a lot of the guys they had in Buffalo this year were not Rex Ryan style guys. I mean, so this offseason we'll probably see a lot of moves where you're going to get a lot. I think Rex runs a 4-3. You're going to see a lot of guys that'll fit Rex's defense, and they may not be as great of players, but they'll be made greater because they can specifically play a defense that Rex Ryan loves to run.
Right.
If they bring in a new defensive coordinator, maybe they spend some time trying to cater the defense to the athletes that they have. Because I mean, the Bills have Jerry Hughes, the Bills have Marcel Darius, they've got I just completely went blank. They have Aaron Williams, they have Stephon Gilmore, they have Ronald Darby, they have Nigel Bradham. I know he's a free agent, but guys like that, just running off names in my head of the defense. It's been so long since I've watched a football game, so I'm trying to remember, but. They've got guys like that you could build a decent defense around, and they have. I mean, one of the best defenses in the league, and now it's not so great, middle of the pack, if you will. So you got to do something, and because what you're doing is not working.
Right.
But we'll talk about the Bills a little more in just a few minutes. San Diego, before Week 17, San Diego had reportedly been set to fire Mike McCoy after the game. And a few days after this week, they decided to keep him. So Mike McCoy apparently will remain the head coach of the San Diego Chargers, which we're going to talk about San Diego in just a moment, too. New York Giants head coach Tom Coughlin steps down. It's not a retirement, he says, but to me, this smells of something rotten. And then we saw the press conference with Coughlin where he walked by the owner of the team and did not acknowledge him. I think that this was a scenario where they said, look at Tom, we're going to fire you. So either we fire you and ruin your reputation, per se, I guess, or you can retire with some dignity, or you can step down with some dignity. And that's what I think happened here, is that it was time for a new coach, time to change it up, and instead of firing him, they gave him the shot to step down, and he did that.
Yeah, that's probably exactly what happened. I mean, I feel bad for a guy. You know, he did win 2 Super Bowls, but when you have a team that plays lackluster the last couple of seasons, coaches normally are the scapegoats.
Yeah, I mean, there's, Eli Manning, I think, is 35. He's got a couple more years left. You want to try to win one more championship with the team that you have now, with the quarterback that you have now, and maybe bringing in a new coach can light a fire into that team and make something happen. But I think Tom Coughlin is a Hall of Fame coach. I mean, he has won a ton of games with 2 franchises, arguably one of the greatest coaches in Giants history. Beat the Patriots twice in the Super Bowl. Beat arguably one of the greatest, if not the greatest, football teams in the history of football, the 2007 New England Patriots, in a fantastic Super Bowl, one of the greatest we've ever seen. I mean, that alone should get the talking going for his Hall of Fame candidacy. But I don't know how the coaches going to the Hall of Fame is always weird. But I just because it's weird because it's not because they don't belong, because they certainly do belong. It's weird just how they vote him in. I don't know. I just don't pay attention to whatever, I guess. But if I had to say he was if you had to ask me, gun to my head, is he a Hall of Fame coach? I say yes.
Absolutely. I think he is.
Now moving on to Cleveland. They are likely to fire head coach Mike Pettin, which, talking about the Bills and Dennis Thurman, maybe Mike Pettin comes back to Buffalo and coaches the Bills defense under Rex Ryan, where he's previously had success coaching under Rex Ryan and coaching the Bills defense. So I guess it's, coach under Rex Ryan, coaching the Bills defense, get the best of both worlds. Mike Pettin's always had a bad situation in Cleveland because that franchise is run poorly. I would have to say it's like a 10-year-old is running a football team because they don't know what they're doing. They're firing the general manager. They already fired the general manager. I believe it was via text message. And that's professional. But obviously you're not gonna find a more poorly run organization. They just actually hired Paul DePodesta from the New York Mets, who was Jonah Hill in Moneyball. So he's going to be the guy they're going to come in and try some analytic stuff and see if that does the job. I don't think it's going to, but we'll see. We'll see. I mean, crazier things have happened, but Mike Pettin on the outs in Cleveland, it looks like, as well as their GM, as we mentioned, but it also looks like Johnny Manziel is out, as we assumed, but we'll talk about Manziel in just a second. A lot of teasers this week, because there's a lot of stuff that happened. We have to touch it all. Miami fires GM Dennis Hickey, not too surprising. A fun note here, ex-Buffalo Sabre Mike Greer. I don't know why I said Chris Drury. Mike Greer. His brother, Chris Greer, I believe it's Chris Greer, is the new general manager of the Miami Dolphins. So that's pretty cool. A local tie, I guess, because Mike Greer played in Buffalo for a while and was a well-known Buffalo Sabre. Like I said, now his brother is the GM of the Miami Dolphins. Moving over to San Francisco now, they fire head coach Jim Tom Sula. Not a very big surprise. He was in over his head from the word go. There's a possibility Chip Kelly could be ending up in San Francisco. And another rumor we heard here that Sean Payton could be headed to San Francisco. It's either San Francisco or New Orleans for Sean Payton. But as time goes on, we will certainly see what happens there. Now, looking at Tennessee, they fire their GM, Rustin Webster, who got Marcus Mariota. Hard to mess that up. And they have the first overall pick this year, so whoever goes in there gets a plum job. Very nice for them. Did you see the news about Johnny Manziel in Las Vegas? Apparently, Johnny Manziel's on the outs in Cleveland, likely to be cut this offseason or traded. I would be surprised if he doesn't end up in Dallas because that's the that looks to be his landing spot. The Dallas Cowboys would make the most sense, and maybe they can knock him back into shape a little. I mean, it looks like the guy's having some trouble, with some alcoholism. Maybe they can get that figured out and squared away. But speaking of that, he was under concussion protocol this week, and he didn't show up at the team facility. Was apparently in Las Vegas wearing a wig and a mustache and sunglasses, so he was not spotted. And while that was happening, somebody was on his Twitter account or his Instagram account geocaching photos of him in Avon, Ohio. So while he's in Las Vegas, he's got someone posting on his Instagram to make it look like he is actually still in Ohio. So that's very ugly, and we'll see what happens there. But it looks certainly like Johnny Manziel is on the outs.
I got nothing there. That's so ridiculous. I don't know why any team would want to pick up a dude if he's going to be doing that type of stuff. Ridiculous.
I agree. I agree with you. I mean, it's something where he's got a lot of talent. They have said, numerous people have said in the organization and out, that Manziel has improved with increased focus on game planning and actually working to become a better football player. But he's yet to put it all together. I mean, when he's not playing, he wants to be partying. And it's your life. Do what you want. But when it's affecting your craft, maybe you want to sit down and say something and try to figure something out and figure out what the problem might be. I'm not trying to tell the guy how to live his life. Do what you want. But, at some point in time, you just got to figure it out. You got to put it all together. And maybe getting cut and going to a different team is that wake-up call that he needs.
Well, hopefully, if he does end up in Dallas, they'll be cognizant of that fact and give him the help, and he turns it around.
Alcoholism is no joke, but I'm not going to try to sit here and say the guy's an alcoholic, but you look at the signs of alcoholism and you look at Johnny Manziel, and it's there. And people want to have fun. People want to enjoy their lives and all that stuff. I get that. But he's a young athlete, wants to enjoy himself, enjoy his money, whatever it may be. Do your own thing, dude. But going to call a spade here, and, it looks like he's got a problem.
A little bit.
Now, moving over to the relocation news that we've all been waiting for. The big news. 3 NFL franchises have Los Angeles. The Oakland Raiders, the San Diego Superchargers, and the St. Louis Rams have all filed, as mentioned, for relocation to Los Angeles. I think 2 of them end up there. I don't know if all 3 do. But if any team gets selected for relocation, it's going to be a $550 million fee to move to Los Angeles. Now, my best guess is that San Diego and St. Louis move to Los Angeles. You'd get San Diego and St. Louis probably at USC or at the Rose Bowl. I think the Rose Bowl already said no, but I think you'd get them at like USC. For a couple years while they built a brand new stadium. And it will probably be a multi-purpose stadium, kind of like what you have at the Meadowlands. So there's 16 weeks of football. No matter what, there's going to be 16 games played in Los Angeles, plus probably a Super Bowl, more often than not. But I don't know what Oakland is doing. I mean, maybe Oakland moves as well, or maybe St. Louis moves to Brentwood or whatever they were going to move to. But to where they bought the Hollywood Parkland, the old racetrack, and we're going to build a stadium there. I mean, maybe all 3 of them move, but I know they want 2 teams in Los Angeles, and this is the perfect time to do it.
I was surprised to hear that Oakland was interested also.
I mean, the reason Oakland is interested is because Alameda County does not want to improve the current stadium, and they know they can't play there much longer. It's the same with the Athletics. The Athletics can't play there much longer because it's just not good. I mean, in the summertime, you're talking about sewage backups that leave like 3 feet of crap water around the stadium, in the dugouts, in the locker room, stuff like that. You can't have that. I mean, come on.
Yeah, that's bad.
They need a new stadium, bad. Will it happen? I don't know. I know they tried to put a baseball stadium, I think, in San Jose, and they got shot down because of San Francisco. I guess they kind of own the rights to that area or something like that because of the amount of distance from their stadium. It's putting 2 stadiums in one market, whatever it may be. But I'm not surprised Oakland put in for relocation. I just don't think they're going to get it.
Yeah, probably not.
Now moving over to the Indianapolis Colts. Indianapolis was going to fire Chuck Pagano. There was no doubt about it. That's been the writing on the wall all season. We've talked about it a few times at this point. We all knew it was going to happen. And then out of nowhere, out of left field completely, because they said Chuck Pagano was going to get fired. The GM was going to help get a new coach, but he may not even stay. And out of left field, completely out of left field, it's announced that Chuck Pagano and Ryan Grigson's contracts have been extended for 4 years. They will remain a team. Indianapolis was reportedly, I say reportedly because I use it very, very loosely, they were reportedly talking with Sean Payton's agents before those talks stalled, and they came back on Pagano and said, we're going to keep you. Now, other places have said that those reports are not true, but we'll take a report as a report, and we'll say it. It's a rumor. Rumors are rumors. They happen a lot. We'll see what happens with Sean Payton, but we know Chuck Pagano's going to stay, and a little continuity doesn't hurt. I mean, they made the playoffs the first 3 out of 4 years. Missed it last year. They were one of the most injured teams in all of football. Give them some time to make the offensive line a little better, improve the defense, and they can probably make the playoffs next year.
There's a very good chance of that.
But you have to rebuild that line and protect Andrew Luck, because if Andrew Luck doesn't stay healthy, as we've seen, that team can't win football games.
That's a true story.
Plus, Andrew Luck is your best player, and you need to protect him. That's all I have to say. I mean, that's just the truth. And the last bit of football news, we'll be all caught up here. We saw some rumors that Doug Whaley was going to be fired, and that Rex Ryan may be even on the chopping block. But those were erroneous, as we have come to find out. The Buffalo Bills today announced that they will be reports coming out. First off, that Rex and Whaley were given an ultimatum of 1 year to make the playoffs, or you're both fired. And that was shot down after the reports came out that Doug Whaley has been extended for 4 more years. Now, this is a good thing. This is a good thing because Doug Whaley will, unless the Bills completely fall off the map and suck real bad, which I don't think will happen, Doug Whaley will remain with Rex Ryan. They will be able to build this thing together. I mean, the one thing the Buffalo Bills have not had in the past decade and a half is continuity. And what are they getting right now? Some old-fashioned continuity. And there's nothing wrong with that. The Buffalo Bills have underperformed majorly this year. After coming off a promising 9-7 season, the Buffalo Bills, they were supposed to make the playoffs. They were supposed to challenge people, all that stuff, and they didn't. But looking back at the last 15 years, the Buffalo Bills haven't won more than 9 games in consecutive seasons since they did it 98-99, where 98 they won 10 games, 99 they won 11 games. They won 8 games consecutively. They haven't done that. Again, they haven't won 8 games consecutively. I mean, they won 7 games. They went 7-9, 6-7, 2006, 2007, 2008. But they've gone 9-7, 8-8 the past 2 years. It's something to build off of. Rex Ryan's first year as the Buffalo Bills head coach. We'll see what happens. But, the Bills need, it looks like they have a quarterback. Tyrod Taylor's going to get another shot next year.
Which he should.
Get Sammy Watkins, a guy opposite of him, put Robert Woods in the slot, re-sign the offensive line because a couple of those guys, I know Cordy Glenn and Richie Incognito are free agents. Re-sign those guys. And like we said before, Cordy Glenn really good, and then he had the one off year and was really good again this year. The off year, he had his kidney removed and played through it. Crazy stuff, but he's a good offensive lineman. Defensively, find guys who can fit the scheme. You've got 2 good corners in Darby and in Gilmore. Maybe pick up someone to kind of play safety with Aaron Williams because we don't even know if Aaron Williams is coming back after he had that neck injury, which could potentially be career-threatening. They were kind of waffling on it, saying it might be, it might not be. We don't think it is, but keep an eye on that one. But like I said, the key word here, Lewis, continuity. Like, just if it ain't broke, don't fix it. It's not broke. And giving Rex another shot, giving Whaley another shot. I mean, I think Doug Whaley's the guy for the job. That's just me, though. But
right,
if he's not, he'll be shown the door. Same with Rex Ryan. If they go 8-8 again next year, I don't know if they'll be back. If they go 6-10, they'll probably be fired. But if they go 11-5 and make the playoffs, they'll say, "Look, we told you so." Continuity is the key. Another year under the belt, another year older, another year wiser, whatever that saying is, and they move on from there.
We'll see what happens.
I mean, there's nothing else we can do, right?
No, pretty much.
Now, moving over to the Pick'em segment. We have to touch on Week 16 real fast before we move on to Week 17. Real quick, I'm not going to bore you with the details. Week 16, I went 10-6. Lewis and John went 9-7, which brings us over to Week 17, which we didn't talk about last week because we were off the air, as mentioned. So, we will discuss the final week of the Pick'em segment. Now, and I forgot, too, we can talk about the playoffs. Crazy, I forgot about the playoffs. Shows how much I care about football. I went in, coming to Week 17, 147 wins. Lewis, 142. John, 135. The week finishes, I went 10-6. Lewis goes 11-5. John goes 8-8. John finishes with 143 correct picks. Lewis, 153 correct picks. And myself, the champion of the 2015 Pick'em segment, 157 wins. I am proud of myself. I did well.
How many did I end up with?
153. I ended up with 157.
Good job, dude. Congratulations. It is you, me from last year, you from this year.
I would
John's
take.
Still a loser.
Yeah, John. Good job. Good job, John. I will take good care of the title or something like that. I'll take good care of it. I promise.
Well, since you have it,
I'm going to take good care of it. But now, because I forgot about this, we're going to move over to the playoffs.
Playoffs.
Thank you. I was going to call you out on it for not saying it, but you said it. I appreciate it.
Playoffs?
Saturday, January 9th, The Kansas City Chiefs head to Houston to take on the Houston Texans. Who you got?
I'm going to have to go with the Chiefs.
I'm going Kansas City, too. I think Kansas City has the upper hand, obviously. Houston needs to have a perfect day, but if Houston's defense is on, watch out.
Yeah, I believe the Chiefs have won like 10 in a row.
I'm looking right now, sir, because I don't even know. Yeah, they won 10 straight games. I think they'll roll over Houston for sure. Houston's won 3 straight. Moving over to Pittsburgh versus Cincinnati, it looks like it's going to be Big Ben versus A.J. McCarron. Andy Dalton may be ready to go, but maybe ready to go. There's no confirmation there. Cincinnati 12-4, Pittsburgh 10-6. Who you got in this one?
That's a tough one. If Dalton was playing, I would go with the Bengals. I don't know. I'm gonna go with the Bengals.
Now I'm gonna take a look here really quick just before I discuss what I'm going to say. I'll agree with you first off. I believe if Andy Dalton is in, they probably would have a shot. But I mean, at this point, the Bengals have not won a playoff game since 1990, and Marv Lewis has never won a playoff game as the Bengals head coach. Sorry to Mike Straw, our buddy Mike Straw from the Hockey Writers too, for making fun of his Bengals. But sorry, bud. But I don't think I right now there's one team I don't want to face, and that's the Pittsburgh Steelers. In the AFC, the Pittsburgh Steelers. There's an NFC team I'll talk about in just a second, but the one team I would not want to face right now is the Pittsburgh Steelers, and I think they're going to take Cincinnati. They may not roll, but they'll handle them. They'll take care of them.
Right.
Which, with that being said, Pittsburgh is the lower seed, I believe. Trying to do the math in my head here.
Yeah, Pittsburgh's a low seed.
Kansas City would be, oh, good Lord. Kansas City didn't win their division, so they'll be 3. Houston 3, Kansas City 4. I need to just pop the internet up. I'm making a damn fool of myself. I'm trying to tell everybody what the matchups are going to be the week after. But we both have Pittsburgh and Kansas City, correct?
Yes.
Okay, cool. So once this page loads, I will let you know. Lewis and I have predicted Kansas City and Cincinnati, or Kansas City and Pittsburgh. I apologize. Which, that being said, if those moves pan out, my page is taking way too long to load. So I probably should reload that line up before it happens. Ridiculous. This is ridiculous. Everything is loading like piece by piece. I don't care, man. Okay, here we go. So, Bengals Steelers. If the Steelers win, the Steelers will move on to take on the Denver Broncos, which that will be a fantastic game. If the Chiefs win, as we predicted, they're the 5th seed. They'll move to New England to take on the Patriots. The Steelers will move to Denver to take on the Broncos. Now, in the NFC, the team I would not want to face, the 6th seed Seattle Seahawks, head to Minnesota to take on the Vikings, the 3 seed. Seahawks rolled over the Vikings earlier this year. Do you expect any different in this matchup, in this rematch?
No, I think Seahawks are going to win this one.
I'm on the Vikings bandwagon. I have been strong all season, but with the way the Seahawks are playing right now, I'd have to think that, and first off, congratulations to the Vikings. They won the NFC East. That's fantastic. That's a great thing to build off of. Mike Zimmer doing a fantastic job up in Minnesota. John, I told you so. The Vikings are for real. Suck it. Anyways, I don't think the Vikings have much of a chance here against Seattle. I think Seattle is, again, in the NFC, as I said before the season in my prediction, I remember myself saying it, until proven otherwise, Seattle's the team to beat in the NFC. They started off slow. They've been hot ever since. 10-6. They get the 6th seed in Minnesota. I mean, they play an early game. It's like a 10 o'clock game Seattle time, 12 o'clock game Minnesota time. I think Seattle beats the Vikings, which would put Seattle in Carolina against the 15-1 Panthers. Washington, I'm going to say Green Bay. They've struggled a lot lately. Washington finished 9-7. It might take a miracle for Washington to win, but I think Green Bay is going to take this one.
Yeah, I believe I agree with you there. I don't think Washington has a chance.
So just to recap here, the 4 games we have after this week, we have Pittsburgh winning, Pittsburgh facing Denver, Kansas City winning, Kansas City taking on New England, Seattle winning, Seattle taking on Carolina, Green Bay winning, Green Bay taking on Arizona. So we have all the road teams winning, which makes sense because for the most part, I mean, the road teams are the stronger teams. Steelers are red hot. Chiefs are, well, the Steelers offense is red hot, I should say. The Chiefs are white hot, 10 straight wins. After starting off 1-5, they've won 10 straight games. Seattle, one of the toughest teams to beat in the NFC. They've been rolling on all cylinders. Russell Wilson been fantastic, and then Green Bay, they've struggled a little, but they've got Aaron Rodgers. And until further, I mean, Aaron Rodgers is one of the best quarterbacks in the league. He should be able to pull it out.
Yeah, I absolutely agree with you there.
I talked too damn much tonight. My throat hurts so bad, and I'm really hungry.
So we still have something to eat.
Got some chicken and fries in the freezer. I think I'm going to make them here shortly once the podcast is over. But the podcast is wrapped up. We did enough talking for the night. What you want to talk about besides that? Is there anything else going on you want to speak of we haven't talked about in the past 2 weeks?
So, yes. The last time we had spoken, you had not finished Jessica Jones.
I was actually going to mention that. Yeah, I finished Jessica Jones. It was absolutely fantastic. I look forward to Luke Cage when it comes out. But, yeah, the way Jessica Jones ended was just miraculous. Wonderful. Fantastic. I was so happy the way it ended.
Yeah, I was really glad the way it ended, too. When she made it seem like he had got control of her again.
Spoiler. Hold on. For everybody who hasn't watched who hasn't watched Jessica Jones, spoiler alert.
Spoilers.
Okay, now I'm
Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. And when he was like, "Tell me you love me," and she looked past him, and winked at her friend, and was like, "I love you," I was like, "Oh, it's about to go down."
I was pretty jacked up.
Yeah. Snapped his neck.
I was yelling at the TV when that happened, actually. I yelled the curse words, the O-S-H-I-T word, man. I was pretty jacked up. Like, holy hell. That was
pretty good.
Like, it just gets me super jacked up. Super, super jacked up.
So, have you seen Star Wars?
No.
Okay. So we won't talk about Star Wars.
I know what happens. I don't, it's not really my thing, you know? But we don't have to talk about it.
Are you not planning on seeing Star Wars?
Probably not for a while, but I'm not, like I said, I'm not too sure. Not too sure.
All right. Hey, people in listener land. When you hear this, and because the fact of the matter is, I'm really undecided on the movie. I was highly looking forward to it, but as I had said before, I was hesitant to really be excited because I wasn't really sure what direction they were going to go with things. Tweet me. Let me know what you guys thought about LG Perez. Because I'm really undecided on the movie.
Yeah, I saw that. I tweeted at you and said, I think you just hate everything.
You did. And I know. I love lots of things. And I'm a huge
I love going on Twitter and just seeing you talk about, like, oh, I don't like this. I didn't like that. I thought this was dumb. This is stupid. And I'm just like, I just had to throw something out there and just say, hey, you know.
You hate everything.
You hate everything.
Yo, but I didn't hate the Hateful Eight.
Is that real good?
It's good. It's long.
Dude, a Quentin Tarantino movie is not a Quentin Tarantino movie without it being a quarter of your day.
Well, movies aren't normally 3 hours, though. It's a solid 3-hour movie. I think if I could have ended about an hour earlier, or they could have shortened it down. I think what happened was the script was leaked like 2 years ago, and Tarantino was pissed. So I think he just added some stuff in just to piss people off. And I heard he changed the ending. I enjoyed that movie, though.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing that. I'm also going to go see here shortly. I want to go see The Revenant, which, I mean, that just looks like the best, one of the best movies all year. But I also want to go see The Big Short, which is, I believe it's about the 2008 housing crisis, the financial market crash, all that stuff. I want to go see that. That looks really, really good. Movies like that, just I enjoy it. My sister actually was kind of freaked out a little because she goes, they're making movies about 2008. I'm like, well, you know, it was a pretty big deal. Looking back on it right now, I mean, even when it happened, we all knew it was a big deal, but like looking back on it, we didn't realize how bad it actually was, but it was pretty damn bad. And they had a good script and decided to make the movie now. So, I mean, that's that. That's how Hollywood works. They have a great movie that they want to make, and it's full of fantastic actors. And
really,
I'm gonna have to go see that very soon.
I might see it. I might go see it in the Dallas theater.
I rewatched Straight Outta Compton. It's still really good.
That movie's awesome.
I'm probably gonna watch Sicario again, which was
I have not seen that. I need to see that.
Messed up, but it comes out on DVD shortly, so you should be able to grab it. It's a messed up movie. It's very dark, but it's really good, really well done. Very
really dark and really good.
Yeah, it's a fantastic movie. I would certainly advise going to check it out. Besides that, though, big stuff coming up on BLTDsports.com. If you're still listening, I don't know if you enjoy the after show on the podcast. I'm going out to Buffalo to do a podcast with fellow BLTDsports.com writer Sam Rodriguez, my ex coworker, well, my ex compadre, I guess, on WBSU Brockport Radio, 89.1 The Point. Getting him back on the radio for the first time, or in front of a microphone for the first time since he left college, or graduated college. I left college, he graduated. And then I think I'm going to be talking with Matthew Collar of WGR to discuss the Bills and the Sabres and really whatever else pops up in our demented sports brains. So check out those. I know Brayton Wilson will be headed to Rochester on Sunday to cover the impending return of Sabres goaltender Robin Lehner and defenseman Mark Pesic, who are both going to be playing in rehab games this weekend with the Amerks as they prepare, like I said, for their return to Buffalo. It's likely that Lehner starts Friday and Sunday for Rochester in Rochester. They play Friday, Saturday, Sunday. I mean, if you want to go out and check out Robin Lehner, go check him out in Rochester in an Amerks uniform. He's ready to go, and it's going to be good times, hopefully, for the Buffalo Sabres and for this rebuild that's going on, because hockey lately has been tough to watch, but it happens. I mean, that's what a rebuild's all about, you know?
Yeah, that's a true story.
And I mean, like on tonight, on Tuesday night, they played the Florida Panthers, and the Panthers just won their 10th straight game. They're red hot. Sometimes if you don't show up with your A game, you're gonna get blown up, and they lost 5-1, so they got blown up. But we never stop grinding. We never stop grinding here over at BLTDsports.com with the Better Live Than Dead podcast, or with whatever else we may do. So again, we do appreciate it, keeping out for that stuff, and we'll keep you posted as stuff gets posted.
Florida must have put up 3 in the third quarter, then, didn't they?
Third period, yes.
Yeah, that's what I'm at, third period. Because when I was at a bar having some dinner, watching some sports, and they were, Buffalo was losing 2-1. And it was still 2-1 when I left.
Yeah, it was a pretty bad third, for sure.
I guess so.
Also, I think I'm going to write a really cool article coming up because the Buffalo Sabres' next game on Sunday is the 41st of the season, so it's split. This season is split in half. It'll be halfway over. So I think I'm going to write a nice little piece, maybe Sunday night, Monday morning, Monday night, whenever I can to get it out and talk about the Sabres at the midway point of the season and expectations where they were, where they are, where they should be, projected stats, all that stuff. So giving you kind of a look into the fourth wall. Something that's been going on. I got to keep my brain busy because if not, I'm just going to freak out over here. So, but besides that, I guess we can wrap this guy up. It's about an hour and 20 minutes or so into the podcast. So,
cool.
Lewis, thank you for joining me.
Thank you.
I appreciate you being patient with me, taking the week off. It's nice to recharge the batteries. It feels good to be back as usual. You can follow Lewis on Twitter. At MRLG Perez. I'm on the tweet bots as well, at WolfBLTD. You can follow me for all the random stuff that I say and how I like to fight with people on Twitter too. That's a lot of fun. You can follow BL.
Speaking of fighting on Twitter, I tell you, I got into a Twitter fight with Christy Teigen.
No.
Yeah, dude, I got into a Twitter fight with Christy Teigen.
How'd you do that?
I guess I don't know if I follow her. I don't recall ever saying, let me follow Christy Teigen. I mean, she's hot, but I don't recall actually ever going and, like, following her. So I don't know if I got retweeted or... But anyway, she put something...
When did this happen?
Last week.
Oh, God, give me a second. I'm going to go look through your Twitter.
Okay. She put something about not liking the game Cards Against Humanity. She thought it was stupid. And so I put, the game is hilarious if, one, you understand sarcasm, two, not mind dirty humor, three, have a sense of humor, four, understand sarcasm. So She responded. What'd you say?
I'm looking.
So she responded by saying something about, like, you know, it's not funny. You can't create your own jokes, and if you're like 17. So I responded to that. Off the top of my head, I can't remember what I said back to her.
I'm looking for it because I don't remember. Yours was the 28th, so I'm going to go back to the 28th on hers because she might have deleted it, but I'm not sure.
But I was like, how you not going to, like, Cards Against Humanity? That game was hilarious. Oh, I responded to her and said, it's based on Apples to Apples, another fun game. This one is just satirical and mature. You should try Apples to Apples. And she didn't respond to that.
That's funny.
Yeah, you should, if you can't take the dirty, you just try Apples to Apples. But someone who never wears underwear, like, you should not mind dirty humor. That's basically what Cards Against Humanity is. It's a fun, hilarious game. So, it's all good.
I got you.
Bunch of people were, like, defending her. I was like, y'all are stupid.
I'm just reading Twitter right now. This is what happens to me. I start to like go on Twitter and just start reading things as I'm talking to you, just to see if I can remember what if I'm missing anything, you know. But yeah, I think I'm gonna go make some chicken fingers, some chicken and some fries, and hang out for a couple hours more. I got to be up early tomorrow, so I don't want to stay up too late. But I'm really hungry because I ate at like 6 o'clock, and then I usually kind of like break it up, eat a little here, eat a little here, eat a little here. So when I get home, I'm not too hungry, but I'm starving. So Follow us
man.
at BLTD Sports on Twitter, BLTDsports.com. Like I said, keep an eye out for new stuff coming up every single day. Things have kind of been a little sporadic. Things have been real busy. All of us writers have been really busy, so we're trying to get stuff up as much as possible. But keep everything on the lookout. As usual, again, thank you, John and Dawn, for letting this podcast happen. Again, Lewis, thanks for showing up and being appreciative. Or I'm appreciative of you being patient with me during this time, the week off we had. But again,
no problem, bro.
Thank you to every single one of you for listening to the podcast this week. Continued support in the new year. Happy New Year again to you. Hopefully everything is well. Hopefully you have a safe and happy New Year. And again, one more time for the metal god. Rest in peace, Lemmy. Metal will not be the same without you. But with that being said, we are better live than dead.
You're not.
We'll see you same time, same place next week, my friends, when we talk again. This has been episode 74 of the Better Live Than Dead podcast. Thank you so much again for tuning in. We'll see you soon.
Peace.
The preceding presentation has been brought to you by the Gear Network. Hey, Don, how's it going?
Living the dream. I'm actually just getting ready to do this commercial.
Oh, you mean the commercial where I tell our listeners to tune into Gear Network every week to listen to our show, Get Ready America, that one?
Yeah, John, that's the one.
They can also listen to us talk about news, sports, whatever's on our minds, that...
And a little of what's on our listeners' minds, but they're just too nice to say it.
Well, that, Don, is a real humdinger.
Humdinger.
Come join us this and every week for Get Ready America exclusively on the Gear Radio Network.
And the Gear Network app.